What is controlling your thoughts? What is enslaving you? Is it the television set, feeding your mind images of what life should be? Is it the internet, drawing you in and controlling your time? Is it drugs or alcohol numbing your brain and diminishing your desires? Or is it weakness? A lack of discipline that prevents you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish?
If you configure your life so that what you are genuinely doing is aiming at the highest possible good, then the things that you need to survive and to thrive on a day-to-day basis will deliver themselves to you. If you dare to do the most difficult thing that you can conceptualize, your life will work out better than it will if you do anything else.
I'm here to challenge you. If you have this take it easy mentality, can you consider being a little harder on yourself? Can you stop letting yourself off the hook? I know it's easy to let yourself off the hook, to make an excuse. Your winning routine has a pattern. Each time you repeat that pattern, it becomes a discipline. And if you break that discipline, you're more likely to lose. So I'm asking you, what if you tossed and turned all night, but you still got up anyway? What if you didn't sleep well, but you still got up anyway? What if you were harder on yourself? What if you set higher expectations for yourself? What if you raised the standards for yourself? And then what if you could stop surrounding yourself with people who subscribe to the take it easy mentality?
There's no better pathway to self-realization and the ennoblement of being than to posit the highest good that you can conceive of and commit yourself to it. And then you might also ask yourself, and this is definitely worth asking, is do you really have anything better to do? And if you don't, well, why would you do anything else? If everything that you're doing every day is related to the highest possible aim that you can conceptualize, well, that's the very definition of the meaning that would sustain you in your life.
You gotta find something within, and that's gotta push you, and that's gotta elevate you, and that's gotta drive you, and that's gotta move you.
If you quit, if you never start climbing, if you never take that first step, you'll never get there, and you'll forever live in regret. Just know that if you keep climbing, if you keep learning how you can get to the next level, you will soon be exactly where you need to be.
Each and every day that you are breathing in this world, each and every day that you are doing something in this world, you should be focusing on getting better, not worse.
I am one decision away from a totally different marriage, a totally different life, a totally different job, a totally different income. Your life comes down to your decisions. And if you change your decisions, you will change everything.
Ask yourself a question. If I could have what I needed and wanted, what would that look like? You'll get a dream, you'll get a vision, and it comes to you. That's the most accurate way of describing it. It makes itself manifest in the theater of your imagination. It's a rather frightening question to find out, to allow yourself to ask yourself what it is that you really need and want.
It's time. It's time for you to level up. It's time for you to get out of your routines and start making it a reality and do something unique and different. Struggle a little bit, hurt a little bit, sacrifice, and dedicate yourself. Because there's no other way. The time is right now to make a difference, to be better than you was yesterday. And you may not believe this, but you gotta do more than less. You got to give a little bit more than less.
So the only thing you need to know right now, the point is not to avoid the pain, and you need to stop asking yourself, what's the least you can do to get good? And you need to start asking yourself, what's the most you can bear to become great? Once you understand that the whole point is to let the suffering and the pain harden you into becoming the version of yourself that you need to become in order to execute at the highest level, to be world class at anything, and stop avoiding it, stop being afraid of it, and start understanding for what it really is, which is the thing that shapes you.
See, getting what you want is up to you.
You can turn your life around if you change your attitude. You change your attitude, you change your altitude.
I got here not because I'm the strongest, not because I'm the fastest, not because I'm the best. I never stopped fighting. It got harder and it got harder, and it seemed the further I climbed, the harder it got. But I didn't stop. I didn't quit. I just kept fighting and fighting and fighting.
Once you begin to discover who you are, then you really realize how you have been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth, including all the dimensions of your life. But you can only do that through the struggle of life.
Get better, grow and learn and develop and live. Live in defiance of the weakness and in rebellion against the decay. Fight them as they creep in with their offers of instant gratification and immediate rewards. Fight them for every inch they try to take. Do not surrender any ground ever.
People who say it cannot be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. Some people don't want to start exercising because they're afraid that others will laugh at their inability to perform a push-up or run for more than 60 seconds without losing their breath. They might be afraid that their friends will talk behind their backs, taking bets when they're going to fail. Thousands of people all over the world dream of entrepreneurship but are afraid to take the first step because if their business fails, their ego will suffer too hard of a blow. Self-discipline isn't only about forcing yourself to do things that are unpleasant for the sake of long-term goals. It's also about resisting the temptation to stay mediocre in order to avoid criticism. True, staying in your comfort zone is safe and there's little criticism you'll encounter along the way. However, there's a high price associated with this choice. You won't ever get to change your current situation. Over the long term, how important is it really that some unintelligent meathead smirks at you at the gym when you're struggling to complete a set of push-ups? Is the momentary pain of that really greater than the pain of regret when you realize that another year has passed without you acting on your goals? You have to decide what your highest priorities are and have the courage, pleasantly, smilingly, non-apologetically, to say no to other things. And the way to do that is by having a bigger yes burning inside. Without the bigger yes burning inside of you, there's no way you'll continue making the uncomfortable choices over the long term for the sake of your goal. The primary reason why I stuck to entrepreneurship, despite countless failures, was my intention to help my parents build a house in the countryside. It was their dream, and by extension, my dream. This big yes had been burning inside me no matter what was happening with my business. Even after another big defeat, I still knew that I would never lay down my arms in the fight to become able to give them their dream. If you have such a strong yes inside you, you'll also refuse to surrender the fight to achieve your dream. Your burning yes will also help you pinpoint your priorities and disregard distractions. For example, if you decided to save money for the future education of your child, saying no to spending money on things you'd like to have, but don't need, would be much easier than without such a powerful motivator. You would be focused on the long view of where you wanted to be when your child was older. If your biggest dream in life is to become a surgeon, you won't feel apprehensive about declining an invitation for a party because you want to prepare yourself for an important exam. The yes burning inside you would be stronger than the fear of missing out on a few hours spent drinking with your friends. Granted, as we've already discussed, there should be some balance in everything, but generally speaking, you'll do well if you can discover a burning reason why you want to accomplish a given dream and unapologetically say no to anything that might threaten your chances of making it come true.
We always overestimate the change that will occur in the next 2 years and underestimate the change that will occur in the next 10. Don't let yourself be lulled into inaction. Bill Gates' quote refers to the evolution of personal computing, but the world of self-discipline isn't any different. A staggering number of people give up on their goals just weeks or months into them, discouraged that they still haven't reached their goals or that their results are lackluster. Sorry to have to break it to you, but the world doesn't work that way. With few exceptions, nobody can build a successful business in 6 months, achieve a perfect physique in 3 months, learn a new language in 4 weeks, or become a self-disciplined person overnight. However, the sky is the limit for those who are in it for the long haul. 10 years of dedicated practice can turn anyone into a world-class expert. When you gain momentum, you'll get exponential results. The trick is to stick to your goals long enough for the velocity to accrue. For example, in the first year, you might only get your business off the ground, but in its 3rd or 4th year, it can explode virtually overnight. What actually happens is not an overnight success, but a process that took place over several years, during which it built upon itself in an exponential way. When you look at my catalog of books, you might be tempted to say that I succeeded right away. That would be a great example of overestimating what you can achieve in a short period of time. My first book wasn't actually my first book. I'd been writing articles, blog posts, books, etc. for a long time before I started writing about self-discipline. It was a process of well over 10 years that resulted in my becoming a best-selling author. Whenever setting a new goal, take the long-term approach. Unlike the person who assumes that their world can change overnight, be in it for the long haul, and the short-term fluctuations won't make you give up. Remember, too, on every occasion which leads thee to vexation, to apply this principle, not that this is a misfortune, but that to bear it nobly is good fortune. Hardships are a part of life, and while nobody, with the exception of masochists, enjoys pain, they can be valuable because they present an opportunity for personal growth. I like to say that you discover how deep your self-discipline goes when you struggle, and not when everything goes well. You aren't self-disciplined because you worked hard when you were fired up to work. You're self-disciplined when you continue to work hard when the last thing you want to do is work. You aren't self-disciplined because you can't afford candy, so you don't eat it. You exhibit self-control when you deny the treats that are offered freely to you, for example, when you're at a party with a buffet selection of high-calorie snacks. You aren't self-disciplined when you wake up early in the morning to work on your new business. You're self-disciplined when you still wake up early in the morning, when it seems that your business is going nowhere. Misfortunes aren't fun to deal with, but bearing them nobly strengthens your ability to handle even worse circumstances in the future. In a sense, trials and tribulations are like training. You may not enjoy it, but you know that eventually it will pay off and more than recoup for any suffering you're going through at the moment.